over and the other things start to fall. And definitely it's much slower than that would actually be. But it still helps. It helps me get over that hurdle and prove like, hey, I can still do this. And, sometimes that is the most important thing. And I know that everyone's neurodivergence shows up in different ways, and maybe this isn't the fix of a tip for you, and that's okay. But yeah, so whether it's making lunch at 4 p.m. when I know I'm gonna eat in like 2 hours because I couldn't get myself to make lunch earlier, and I finally conjured up the effort to do it, it's still something, and it's still helpful. Doing those things and proving that you can do it is helpful, and doing something wrong in this context is a lot better than not doing it at all. And another thing I want to talk about too is doing things scared. I'm doing this podcast scared. I feel like I don't know what I'm doing. I wonder if what I'm saying is helpful to people or if I'm just really rambling. But I do know that when my confidence is higher, I usually have a lot more trust in myself that I am doing something good. And right now that is not the case. So I know that that's probably why I have a lot more doubt in my head. So I'm hoping, when I do feel more confident again, which, fingers crossed will be soon, I can have the courage to talk about things in more depth and have good episodes, or have the episodes I planned in my head to have. And, kind of this episode is an example of doing something quote unquote wrong, because in my head, I'm supposed to have robust notes and know exactly what I'm going to talk about and make sure that it can be as quote unquote perfect as it possibly can be. And that's just not possible right now for a bunch of reasons. But this does bring me so much joy. And so to show up for myself and to prove to myself that I can do it and it's still worthwhile doing scared and doing quote unquote wrong is really important, because then it also creates momentum and allows me to feel more ready to do it when I have the atmosphere and ability to do it the way I'd planned in my head. And so same thing with this idea of habits and what I had hoped to do. Setting myself up by doing these things in the wrong order, or in an order that doesn't make sense, any way that can overcome the executive dysfunction and just help me do them at all is so helpful, because it also too builds momentum and proves to myself that I can do these things. For example, like last week, I started going to the gym where I live, and I started doing that at 9 o'clock at night, every single night. And it wasn't on purpose that it was a routine thing to go at that time, but it just happened. And it was definitely not the most ideal time to go, because I noticed myself having a harder time falling asleep and staying up later because I was running. I've been really enjoying running lately, and running late at night is definitely not good for your circadian rhythm, I would assume. And it was just not helpful for me sleeping, but it also did make me feel really good and also had me have something to look forward to at the end of the day. So in that case, even though it wasn't, a perfect time to go or a perfect scenario, it was still beneficial for me at the end of it all, and that's really important. So if you take anything from this episode, I just want you to know that it's okay to do things in a way that maybe isn't as practical as everybody else would normally do it. And also, disclaimer, I'm not liable, so you can take this advice, you can leave this advice, but these are just my thoughts. But showing yourself that you can do the damn thing, whether it be a little bit or a lot, really does make a difference. And yeah, I hope you can find this helpful. Thank you for listening. It truly does mean the world. Also, too, we are now on Apple Podcasts, which is so exciting. I don't know why, but the way they have things set up looks so fancy. To me, I think probably because I'm a Spotify user, so I don't really see Apple Podcasts that often, but it just looks so official and I'm really excited about it. You know what? It might actually be, I started listening to podcasts when I had Apple Music way back when in like 2020, and that's cute. I think it might be that. Is I've just been excited to see myself on that platform now, which is crazy. Leave a review if you'd like to on Apple Podcasts. You can actually write a review, so that would mean the world to me if you want to do that. Or if not, just hit the stars on Spotify at the top of my podcast page and you can leave a review. And follow me on Instagram too if you want to see little updates for new future episodes and other things like that. And also, if you want to be a contributor to future episodes, I will post question boxes on my Instagram story. So keep an eye out for that. My Instagram is nothingtypicalpod, and it's the usernames in the description. And so are my other links and information. So yeah, with that, I love you lots. Have a fantastic day. Bye.